Hi, everybody. My name is Eliza Reid, and I wrote an upcoming book called Secrets of the Sprakkar, Iceland's Extraordinary Women and How They Are Changing the World. Sprakkar is a very old Icelandic word that means extraordinary or outstanding women. Now, before I tell you more about the book, I want to give you a little bit of a background on me because that comes into the story a little bit. As you can maybe hear from my accent, I grew up on a hobby farm in Canada, just near Ottawa. I went to graduate school in England, where I won a raffle for a blind date with a man who was from Iceland, who I ended up marrying, moving to Iceland with, where I founded a writer's retreat, worked as a journalist, and had 4 children in just under 6 years. And then in 2016, rather unexpectedly, my husband became elected president of Iceland, and I had the honor of serving as the country's first lady, which I still do to this day. Now I also want to tell you a little bit about Iceland itself. We're a very tiny country in the North Atlantic. We're the world's most peaceful country. We have no military. We have the most positive reputation towards LGBTQ people of the OECD countries. We're one of the happiest countries in the world. And for the past dozen years, according to the World Economic Forum, we're also the country that is closest of all the countries in the world to closing the gender gap. And that's really what my book is all about. It's how these Sprakkar, the extraordinary women of Iceland, are changing the world by bringing gender equality within reach, although we're definitely not there yet. Or to put it another way, this book explores what it's like to live as a woman in the world's best country for women. Couple spoilers here now as to why that is the case. We have excellent parental leave here for both parents. We have highly subsidized childcare, high participation of women in the workforce, plenty of visible role models, including the world's first democratically elected female head of state in 1980. We have men and non-binary people who are also involved in this debate, and really just a general belief in society that we're no longer debating whether trying to achieve gender equality is important, but how we're actually going to get there. Now, to tell this story, I spoke with dozens of Sprakkar, extraordinary women, through all walks of life in Iceland, from a comedian to a mayor to a sex advisor to a soccer player to sea swimmers. And each chapter addresses different aspects of society, from parenting to business to sexuality to media, arts, culture, sport, politics, and I talk with different people in each chapter. I also include little amuse-bouche, if you will, in between, some little histories of outstanding Sprakkar in Iceland's past. But the thread in the book is really my own story that I mentioned at the beginning about this girl from a hobby farm who all of a sudden kind of found herself dining next to kings and queens at night, but who also became nationally famous because of being someone's spouse rather than through my own individual achievements. And I actually wrote a piece in the New York Times about that a couple of years ago as well, where I said that I'm not my husband's handbag to be dragged when he runs out the door and displayed silently by his side at public appearances. And what do I hope readers take away from this book? Obviously, I hope that you find it enjoyable to read and easy and sometimes funny, but I hope you learn something about Iceland because this is really my love letter to Iceland as an immigrant here. But most of all, I hope that this story inspires you. I know that gender equality can be a little bit, I think, like the climate crisis. It's such a big issue. There's so much left to do that sometimes it feels like it's too much for we as individuals to be able to have an impact on, other than maybe voting in people in politics who are going to make a difference. But this isn't a political issue. This is a human rights issue. And we can do things in our daily lives. We can trust ourselves, use our voices, follow our dreams, leave no one behind, leave no other groups behind, elevate others who might not have the chance as much or the opportunity so much to use their voices, to confound expectations, whether those are outdated or even offensive expectations about who we should be and what we should do and how we should act. Because although this word Sprakkar is an Icelandic word, there are, of course, Sprakkar everywhere in all countries on the world. We just need to elevate them and encourage them to use their voices. Thank you for all the great work that you do, and best wishes from Iceland.